Hey guys, it's Ash. Thanks for clicking on this video. First of all, I have some news that I want to share with all of you, and that is that 10 weeks from now, I will be on a plane and I will finally be going back to Guatemala. I am so excited and I'm so happy that I'm finally going to be able to get to do this and fulfill my promise, and in the course of going back, get my teaching English certification. It's very exciting and I'm looking forward to it. Sorry, correction, 9 weeks until I leave. As it stands, I have less time here than I will when I'm there. I'm going away for 10 weeks. And I find myself pushing people away. Now, I do this a lot. It's not something that I try to do. It's not intentional. It's just instinctual, and it's a form of self-preservation, and I hate that I do it, and right now I'm currently fighting it, and the best way to fight it is to talk about it and acknowledge what's going on the inside, and, struggle with it, and really just acknowledge, what's going on, and not be afraid to talk about it, and, hopefully you'll be able to push through it. What I'm talking about is pushing people away emotionally. I find myself distancing myself from my closer friends and my family. And that means I haven't been contacting people, freely as much. Just kind of sticking to our already established appointments and just keeping the status quo, but not really allowing myself to be invested anymore into my relationships because I'm leaving. And the reason why I do this, many people do this, I would think, is we try to keep ourselves safe and we don't want to get hurt. We seek to take the least painful, the least difficult route. And part of that is avoiding emotional pain and avoiding anxiety. And so if I am less invested in a relationship, whether it's a friend or my mom or brother or whomever, then if I'm less invested in it, then when it comes time for me to leave, then the emotional drawback won't be as bad. And that's a piss poor excuse for distancing yourself from other people. At the same time, however, I find myself desiring more emotional closeness and more opportunities for bonding with friends who aren't as close, people I don't get to see all the time. And that's because I'm leaving soon, and for 10 weeks the opportunity to get together is going to be gone. And so I want to take a hold of the opportunity to see these people as much as possible before I leave, because when I leave it's going to be so long before I'm able to even conceive seeing them again, especially my friends that live upstate. What brought this realization on, and I had an open conversation with this about, if I could talk, I had an open conversation about this with a couple friends this Saturday, and it was spurred on by an invitation to go to a friend's house for Kiddush or Kaddish or Kiddush, that's the word, in Southfield. These friends, they just converted to Judaism, and they invited all of us who have not converted to spend with them, and I don't get to see them anymore. The people who were invited, it was their family who's in, the Ann Arbor area, and myself. I've been feeling a desire to see them, but now that I've been invited, it's almost like I don't want to go. And there's this little voice inside my head, because I didn't get the invitation personally. I wasn't personally invited. It was one of my friends was invited, and the invitation was for everybody. So I am included in the invitation, but I didn't get the invitation personally. And that kind of set off a little voice in my head that would tell me that I'm not actually wanted, and the invitation that was extended to me is more out of pity. Like I was invited just so I don't feel left out. And that's something that I've had to struggle with for a long time. Always feeling like an outsider, never feeling like I'm part of the group, and also not allowing myself to have close friends. I remember one time specifically, I was invited to a Sweet 16 party for a friend who I did show choir with, and I was really excited to go. But the closer we got to the date, the more I began to question, why I was invited, because we didn't hang out a lot. So I was wondering if the invitation was extended to me because, again, someone didn't want me to feel left out. Now, because I was actually wanted, or because this person actually valued me as a friend. They just felt sorry for me. And so the night of the party, I called her and told her that I wasn't feeling well, that I had a fever, that I just couldn't make it. And she said, "Are you sure? We would really like you to come. I want you to be here." And I said, "No, I'm really not feeling well. I'm really sorry. I can't make it." That's really sad. Afterwards, I just cried in my pillow. And I did feel sick. I felt sick because I had all this anxiety built up inside, and I didn't know how to deal with it. And because I was so anxious and so full of doubt, even though I knew she was telling the truth, I couldn't believe her. And I hated that I couldn't believe her. The damage was already done. And that same theme has replayed itself over and over and over and over again. And it had stopped when I finally made friends in Guatemala. It went with me there when I first started my semester abroad, when I first went. I would stay in my room after lessons, wake up, go to school, come home, do homework, and not do much else. Watch YouTube videos, different lectures, and then BuzzFeed, and that's how I spent my time. Later on, I added the teaching, so then certain days I would do school, go to the Spanish class, come home, get my stuff, go teach, and then do homework and go over lesson plans and stuff. But even on the weekends, unless we were doing something with the whole group, I would just stay in my room. There wasn't a synagogue around, so I watched lectures on Saturday. I think I maybe went out like once or twice, you know, just to get coffee or maybe take a walk around the block just to get some fresh air. But for the most part, I stayed in my room. I didn't want to go to church, so I didn't go to church with everybody unless it was a mandatory group kind of activity. So I didn't have camaraderie there. Again, I would just go on YouTube or Google Live casts and listen to different teachers and lectures and rabbis, and back then people who were in the Hebrew Roots movement. And I felt very alone, and it wasn't until I met breakdancers in the park and allowed myself to make friends, even though I only had like 5.5 weeks to get to know these people. I had to allow myself to get to know them and let them get to know me. And that was the most liberating experience ever. It's hard to be struggling with trying to fight the urge to close people off and distance myself from the rest of my friends and family. And it's also hard to allow myself to feel wanted and to feel like I belong and I'm still a part of people's lives here. Alright, this video is a little longer than I intended, but I have been working through this issue and I just felt like I needed to share it with anybody who would click on this video, because you never know who's struggling with depression or anxiety, or you know, who's struggling with putting up these blocks in their life. And we do it because we're trying to protect ourselves, but we have to realize it's going to be okay. We're going to be fine, and it'll be a lot better if we stop trying to protect ourselves, stop trying to put walls up, and just let ourselves out and let people in a little bit. Thank you for watching this video. Leave your questions, comments, criticisms, concerns down below. Take care. Espero que Dios te bendiga. Shalom Ubrachot. Hasta la próxima.